Now, over the past couple of years, we have all witnessed what Bob Iger has done to the Star Wars franchise. It's really been an up and down cycle, an emotional roller coaster, so to speak, among the fans to actually deal with, especially looking back at the sequels, Solo, and even the Kenobi and Boba Fett series, of course, that Kathleen Kennedy had a large hand in, by the way. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future Star Wars updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. Now that brings us to, of course, everything that has been happening from Bob Iger and what he has been teasing the past couple of weeks for new Star Wars TV shows, new Star Wars movies, new lore, and all the like that's being created by John, George, and Dave, as well as other new creatives coming on board over at Lucasfilm. Now, moving beyond all of this, we know that, of course, Bob Iger has been very much direct with the fandom as of late. He's trying to connect with the fans more on a personal level, kind of trying to really show fans that he's starting to care about where this franchise is heading, even though I still do believe it's mostly driven by damage control and desperation. Now, moving on to exactly what is happening. Now, of course, a lot of fans have been asking for Star Wars movies to come back into the cinemas. Ever since Episode 9, we have not had a Star Wars movie in theaters. That was way back in 2019 already. It's been well over 3 years, and here we are. So, we already have a lot of things in the planning stages. We already have Bob Iger planning multiple trilogies, and even a couple of one-off films to alternate in the theaters. That's their overall game plan right now, going back to their original strategy of what they did with the sequels and the one-off films. Now, moving on to all of this, what's really exciting is that with Disney and Lucasfilm preparing to make drastic changes behind the scenes, it's noted that currently, right now, John and Dave are preparing to make big canon adjustments for the franchise that will involve some of the well-known characters. However, in a recent interview with Bob Iger, he went on to tease a couple of things about the future of films by stating the following. One of our biggest goals right now is looking at how we can drop and, of course, adapt the stories from the shows and series that we are putting out on Disney Plus and adapting those into the form of films. We discuss this every single day and are smoothly developing a great plan to create a series of films, or even calling it a trilogy, to adapt the stories of The Mandalorian to be told in the cinema. Now he goes on to state, we think this is an excellent choice to bring those characters to the big screen, and to do things that a budget with the shows could not. John and Dave have been talking with us very frequently about adapting those stories into films, and it's really something that is coming together in the planning stages. Now let me just stop right here for 1 second about what Bob Iger is teasing, and we actually touched on this a couple of weeks ago that Disney and Lucasfilm are indeed developing a brand new sequel trilogy. Now, what I mean by that is they're not necessarily making a new Episode 7, 8, and 9, but what they are doing is that they are making a trilogy of films that's going to be based after the events of Return of the Jedi, but before the sequels that exist. So, you see, basically the overall structure is a new sequel trilogy, but not in the form of an episodic format, if that makes sense. So, basically this is Disney's way of kind of giving fans a true series of sequel movies in this post-Return of the Jedi era. And basically what they want to do is they want to bring characters like Ahsoka, Din Djarin, Grogu, Luke, Boba Fett, all these fan-favorite characters to the big screen. And to go about doing that is by adapting the stories that John and Dave have been creating with Mando, Ahsoka, Boba Fett, and all the other stories that are on the horizon to actually be transferred into the forms of films. Now, the thing that fans may love about this is the fact that this is a big plan in the making by John and Dave to borrow elements from the Heir to the Empire books that feature Thrawn as the new big bad, as the main villain, as well as Jorah Sabaoth as the side character or the side villain. And basically that's all going to be set up loosely in the Ahsoka Tano series and will just be the beginning of it all. And they want to get things up and running with these new Mandalorian movies by 2025 is when they want to begin production on these things and get things rolling. So I believe with all these upcoming shows, you're going to see a lot of teases of what's coming for Disney's plan for the cinema and the overall structure of adapting them into films. Now, with that being said and all, moving on to the next thing, alright? He goes on to say, they are looking at ways to incorporate both Legends characters and the existing Mando-era characters together in the cinema, and how this could be done on a successful scale for the community. Now, apart from what Iger stated, John and Dave are planning a full-fledged Mando-era trilogy featuring all the characters shown in the shows to face new conflicts and struggles with the addition of Legends characters coming in for the fans to enjoy. So, once again here, I think that some fans are going to have different opinions on this. Some fans may view this as very much unnecessary and how it may not fix a thing. Other fans think that this is really going to be the way of the future, and I do believe that. I 100% believe that this is a very good and healthy way to put out new sequel trilogy movies, quote-unquote, and more post-Return of the Jedi era content on the big screen. Because they already boosted the familiarity of characters like Ahsoka, Boba Fett, Din Djarin, Grogu, and stuff like that, to where it's already embedded in the fandom very well, and the next phase is the addition of Ezra, Sabine Wren, Hera Syndulla, and Grand Admiral Thrawn, coming into the equation for the Ahsoka series. And that's the next big phase of introducing some new characters along with Legends characters. So yes, I do believe that this is going to be the remedy to creating more post-Episode 6 movies, instead of what we got with 7, 8, and 9, and how it really is going to be something truly based off of Star Wars Legends, so that's good to know. But the thing about this is that we obviously know that Disney wants to bring Star Wars movies back, and for specific reasons. They know that movies gain more revenue through repeat ticket sales if they are very quality made, and doing it by that way, they can make even more films. And more films on top of that. So, Disney's looking at a structure on how they can really go back to making movies again. And this is one of the big plans that is coming together by John, George, Dave, Bob Iger, and other Disney higher-ups involved. And it's just the beginning, guys. They have another trilogy like the Old Republic one in the works, and they're even planning an episode 10, 11, and 12 that is more of a distant project. That's more like, not so close. But there's a lot of things in the works. I mean, a lot of great things coming together for shows, films, and more. And I think that things are really coming together without a doubt. So, overall, John and Dave have their head on straight. They're doing great things for the fans. Guys, fill me in below in the comments what you guys have to say about all of this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Gun in hand, we are alone again. From night to moon, we hear them moans again.